Are you struggling to keep up a creative practice while the world's on fire? I am too. You're not alone. One of my biggest struggles is trying to prioritize my art making when so much else feels so much more pressing. Between new crises every day and the gravitational pull of doom scrolling, it's easy to let creative practice go, whether you're a professional artist or somebody with a creative hobby, or just somebody who uses art to relax. I will share some tips and ideas on how to keep making art during apocalyptic times. You're watching Rebecca's third act, a video series where I share my midlife reboot. Parenting, career, theater making, and my own body are all changing right under me. Join me on a journey to figure out what's next. I'm a professional theater director, a writer, and a person who's tried out a lot of different creative practices. Here's what we're not going to do in this video. We're not going to talk about needing to write every day or draw every day or not break the chain. That has never worked for me, and I suspect it doesn't work for most people with a kid or a day job or honestly just living in the world right now. I've fallen into the trap of all or nothing too many times, and I've chosen never if I couldn't do it every day. So instead, let's explore some small, sustainable practices you can do even while democracy is burning to the ground. As a bonus, they'll help you stay grounded and remember that you live in a body and in the world and not inside a screen. I learned a new word recently, polycrisis, meaning living in multiple crises simultaneously. That's what we're facing, and it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. So we all need to strengthen our muscles of art making in times like these. And let's face it, creativity is how we're going to imagine our way out of this. So we all need to practice. All right, first practice, grounding. Anything you can do to connect more deeply to your body and to the earth counts as creative practice. And it's the best way I know to slow down and breathe and get off the hamster wheel of news. I like to go out in my backyard as early as possible and put my feet on the ground, barefoot if I can, if it's not too cold, and just be there for a few minutes. Even a few breaths is plenty to ground me and get me ready for the day. If you can't go outside, lie down on the floor, take a few breaths, and really feel the floor and the earth underneath it supporting you. And if you can't do either of those, you can try this. Here, let's try it now. Take the heels of your hands and press them gently into your eye sockets and take 5 breaths. Let's do it together. Breathe in and out. In and out. In and out. In and out. Last one, in and out. And open your eyes slowly. You might have to blink a bit if you're seeing stars. There you go. You've grounded yourself and you're ready to make some art. Next practice. Here's what I like to call noodling. This is when you take an element of your practice or just a practice you're exploring and you mess around with it. You just noodle around with no goals and no judgment. Some people do this better with structure, like the writers who say, okay, I'm going to make a list with a word for every letter of the alphabet. For other people, it works better with no structure, like a dancer or a musician, just messing around with a phrase. For me, as a director, one of the ways I do noodling is I just move around the room and I sit in different positions and look in different directions and just really feel how the energy changes. And that's a way for me to practice a really important element of my craft, which is bodies in relationship to space. So for example, this is a really different energy than this or this. And that's me just noodling for a minute with something I know how to do. Another thing to try is to do something you're bad at. or at least not an expert at. Look, there's so much pressure when it's your own art form. I like to do something I have no training in, and therefore I have no expectations. I don't get into my head about how good it is. For me, this is visual art. I might do a quick watercolor. I bought this travel watercolor kit for a long plane ride, and I really love it. I can just take it anywhere with me, and I can just do a quick watercolor. And I don't care at all if it's good or not. It's just a chance to put some colors on paper and make a little art. Or you can even use one of these coloring books. I like this one. Again, just fun with color. Something I can do even when I'm watching something. So doing something you're bad at. My final practice that I want to share is to notice yourself noticing. I have a practice I call seeds that I've been doing every Friday or most Fridays for many years. I write a list of ideas or images or projects that have been sticking around in my head. I don't look at the previous list before I write that one, but after I check it out and I start to just gently notice patterns. Maybe something has recurred week after week, like maybe I keep writing drumming and I don't know what that means yet, but over the next week you can pay a little attention to that. Do I want to watch a video about drumming? Do I want to look for a drumming class? Do I just want to keep it in my head and see if it pops up on next week's list? Here's a seeds list I wrote last Friday. You can see some of the things on it. Okay, so we have grounding, noodling, trying something you're bad at, and noticing what you're noticing. How about if you try one of those, or more than one, this week, and see how it affects your creative practice? Report back in the comments if you tried one and how it felt, and go easy. Maybe this won't be the week for you, or maybe you'll only get to do it one day a week. It's a hard time. It's hard all around, but I hope this can help offer you a little solace in these really difficult times. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll like and share and follow so you can find out when the next video is coming from Rebecca's third act. Down in the description, you'll find links to some of the things I showed you today and also some suggestions of books on creative practice. Thanks for being here. Are you struggling to keep up a creative practice while the world's on fire? I am too. You're not alone. One of my biggest